afternoon. Have you ever reacted in a way that surprised even yourself? Maybe you got angry quickly, you stayed silent, or you felt like running away. Many times, these reactions do not come from who we are today. They come from old emotional wounds. Today, I want to share how emotional intelligence, a powerful skill, can help us face those emotional wounds and grow into a healthy version of ourselves. By the end of this talk, you will be informed about what is emotional intelligence, what emotional wounds are, how emotional intelligence can help us heal, and the resources to make this easier. So I want to start by explaining what is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize, manage, and understand our emotion and those of others. But what does this really mean? To make it simple, experts break emotional intelligence into 4 parts. First, self-awareness, which is knowing what we feel and why. 2, self-management, which is controlling our impulses and choosing how to react. 3 is social awareness, understand the emotions of others. And 4, relationship management would help us build and keep healthy connections. Research shows that people with a strong emotional intelligence often perform better in school, have healthy relationships, and feel less stress. But emotional intelligence is not only about how we manage our wounds. It also emphasizes to the many struggles we carry inside. According to Liz Burbert in her book, The 5 Wounds That Prevent You from Being Yourself, she explains that many of these struggles come from 5 main wounds. These wounds are created between age of 2 and 6 years old. At this very young age, we don't have the emotional tools to process pain. So instead, we create masks, which are behaviors that we put on to prevent us feeling pain. The problem is, as we grow up, we keep using these masks again and again. And it becomes a pattern that becomes a habit that once protected us, but that today is limiting us from being who we really are. So the first one is rejection, and the mask is the withdrawal, which is when I pull you away before you can reject me. Second word is abandonment, and the mask is the dependent, which is I cling because I'm afraid you will leave. Third is the humiliation, and the mask is the masochist, which is I sacrifice myself so others don't criticize me. And the fourth one is betrayal, and the mask is the controller, which is I control so no one can betray me again. The fifth one is injustice, and the mask is rigid, which is I must be perfect to avoid being judged. So now that we know and understand the 5 main wounds, here is where the emotional intelligence enters and becomes powerful. So let's break each part of EI with a significant sample so we can know how to control these wounds. First, self-awareness. So let's imagine we are in an uncomfortable situation with a random person. So we're in a really bad argument. So with self-awareness, you have to name the feeling, name what you're feeling with the situation. So you're feeling angry, sad, rejected. Then you remind yourself that this feeling is coming from an old wound and not from who you are today. Then self-regulation. After you name the feeling, you pause, take a deep breath, and then give yourself time to choose how to respond. These will help you to respond instead of react. Social awareness. With social awareness, you have to understand that the other person involved has also their own story and their own wounds. So with empathy, you're not seeing the situation only from your side, but also from the other person's perspective. And relationship management, finally, by taking all the other steps, you will be able to create healthy connections and closeness. So how can we practice emotional intelligence into our daily routine. There are many simple ways to do this. First, by journaling, which help us notice emotions with more clarity. Therapy or coaching will provide us a safe place to explore our emotions and learn healthy skills. And mobile apps, which can guide us on tracking our feelings and building empathy. So now I'm going to introduce you to a short video from Mark Brackett on his talk Permission to Feel. He explains the importance to give ourselves permissions to feel our emotions instead of ignoring.
And what's happened in our world is that we have really adopted quick fixes, meaning mindfulness has become like really the big thing now. So everybody's doing mindfulness exercises and breathing. Or it's yoga, everybody's doing yoga. And I think those are both great things and I do them both. But the truth is, when it comes to dealing with our inner lives and our emotions, it's much more complex. We need a wide range of strategies to help us manage our emotions. So for example, here at Yale, what I found is the students say they're stressed, but they're actually feeling envious. And so when you think about how do you help a student manage envy versus stress, it's a bit different. In my own life, I used to label myself as being stressed all the time. Then I realized that, well, stressed is having too many demands and not enough resources. Well, I'm not stressed. Then I would say, well, maybe I'm anxious. Well, not really anxious because anxiety is about uncertainty. And I have pretty good security here. Oh no, I'm not anxious either. Am I fearful? No, there's no danger. And then it wasn't until about 6 years ago that I realized I was just chronically overwhelmed. All right, so what's the strategy to deal with being overwhelmed? Well, the only strategy that really will work is to take things off your plate. So myself, along with many other psychologists, say you have to name it to tame it. And I think that's the core of this work, is being highly perceptive of our own and other people's emotions, really getting to understand where our guilt.
So as you saw, when we give ourselves permission to feel, we start to understand where our reactions are coming from. And this is the very first step to help us heal our old emotional wounds. So today we'll learn about first, what is emotional intelligence, two, what emotional wounds are, three, how emotional intelligence can help us heal, and four, the resources to make this easier. So emotional intelligence is not only about knowledge, it is a tool to use for every day. The more you use it, the faster you heal. So next time when you feel triggered, instead of asking yourself, oh my God, what is wrong with me? Try to change that question and ask yourself, from which one is starting to speak right now? That small question can change the way you see yourself and the way you make connection with others.